good. I can make it the bigger screen too. What's up, everybody? Aaron the Dog back here with another breakdown. This week we are breaking down our first Bellator card of 2021, finally in April. By the time this happens, this is March 31st, but I'm here with I'm Aaron the Dog. I'm here with MMA Wagers, as I have been for the last few LFA breakdowns. We're branching on to Bellator and beyond as well. But how you doing today, man?
Good, man. Good. Just been looking forward to breaking these fights down. We got the weigh-ins tomorrow. The official day of the fights is Friday. Unless you're in Australia, it's going to be Saturday. But yeah, I'm just ready to break all, I think 12 official fights, but I'm seeing 13 on Wikipedia and 12 on Tapology.
Yeah, I only have 12. I'm going with Tapology as well. I know Tapology isn't always right, but if there is a 13th, we're not seeing it. And we had a lot of
there's no betting odds either. So yeah, we can just, it's Jonathan Wilson versus Jose Augusto.
Okay, I know Jonathan Wilson.
Yeah, UFC.
Yeah, he's but yeah, I haven't looked into that one at all. I don't see odds for it. But yeah, we've had some really good, or decent guys drop off this card. But I think at the end of the day, we ended up with a really solid card here. Bellator's all over the place, man. They put crazy high prospects in the middle of their prelims, start their prelims. I don't really get how it works. They put guys who are co-main eventing last fight into the opener of the main card. Like it's all over the place, man.
Every day it's something different.
They've got a guy who arguably beat Peter Yan twice fighting on the prelims. I mean, it's all over the place here, but luckily we have odds for most of the fights, so we'll be able to break them down. We're gonna hop into it now. I'm gonna be trying to share the screen today. But yeah, thank you anybody who is joining us. Obviously, Dave, always a big supporter. Good to see you, man.
Bananas.
Fight Bananas will make their return. We know that. But yeah, we're going to try the split screen today, so we'll see how this goes. But we start at the 185 division, and that is with Jordan Newman, 2-0, taking on Bronco Busick. I believe it is pronounced Bronco from at least what I've heard in his fights. He's been in Bellator before as a heavyweight. He took on Tyrell Fortune, who we'll be talking about later on this card. 2-1, 2-1-1 as a pro. 2-1 as an amateur. His last fight was a no contest, and I'm not really sure why. It was in 2018 of October as well. This guy, he's kind of a wild man from what I've been able to see. He did hang in there with Tyrell Fortune for 3 rounds, so that definitely is to be noted here as he's moving down to middleweight for the first time in his career. He hasn't fought since 2018. Jordan Newman, I believe he trains at Rufus Sports, so he trains with Ben Askren a lot. I think that was noted with regard to his grappling. So his grappling is going to be super legit. He had good ground and pound in his win. That was in 2019. So both these guys coming off pretty decent layoffs. Newman's definitely the prospect here, and I think more is expected out of him. I think he's in his early 20s. Not exactly sure where, but where he is in that, but yeah, trying to share the screen. We'll see how this goes. But trying with the Bellator as opposed to the UFC. But yeah, my thoughts on this one. I think Bronco could make this kind of a fight where Newman's more tested, and if his takedowns aren't there, then I think Bronco could honestly spring an upset. But I expect Newman to kind of be levels ahead with the takedowns, be able to control them, win at least 2 out of 3 rounds, possibly even get a finish somewhere in there. He has good ground and pound, so I could see a possible finish. Otherwise, I see him controlling them for 3 rounds. So I think this is Newman all day. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with most of that. It's definitely Bellator trying to build up another prospect. He's 2-0 as a professional. Both his fights have been in Bellator. Bronco did have his shot in Bellator, but they gave him Tyrell Fortune, who is another prospect they have built up really well. Like I give props to Bellator for building some of these fighters up, especially AJ McKee. He's on another level, and I give props to Bellator. But this fight, Bronco did have that no contest. It was originally a knockout for Bronco in round 2, but it was a failed drug test came back. They weren't specific about the drug test. Yeah, I like Jordan Newman here as well, but it's a grown man versus a younger man. And like they have similar experience. Bronco is probably more experienced. Is this Bronco's middleweight debut? Do you know?
Yeah, it is his middleweight debut, but he's also been off since 2018. So
yeah, 3 years. I think because he got suspended for whatever. They were never specific about it, but yeah, Jordan Newman. It's been 2 years. He's been more active. He fought 3 times in 2019, I believe. 2 times in 2019. He beat Joseph Holmes by unanimous decision, winning 30-27 and 2 29-28. I know Joseph Holmes. He's a decent competitor. It's just, yeah, the weigh-ins will be tomorrow. We'll see if he even makes weight. This is, like, he's only got finishes as wins. He's never went a full 3 rounds and got a unanimous decision. So if they do come out with props, I would parlay. Well, you want to get into the odds now?
Yeah, we can get into the odds. Broncos a plus 240.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get to come back at minus 350 on Newman.
You're going to have to parlay Bronco unless you have the bankroll. But even if you had the bankroll, like it's low-level MMA at the end of the day.
He's minus 350. Yeah, he's faced nobody with a record yet, Newman.
Yeah,
I think this is a tricky spot.
If they come up with props, I'll take Bronco inside the distance because I think the prop bet will be at least plus 400 if you get it early.
Yeah, I mean, this is a dogger pass for me as well.
Yeah, me too, man.
You know, I mean, if you don't want to bet on Bronco, that's completely fine. He's going to be 30 coming into this fight off of a drug test that took 2 years. That's probably steroids. You know, and it's like we've seen 30-year-olds come back at a lower weight class after a failed drug test, and they haven't exactly looked the same often. So, you know,
there is an example from this past weekend. Michel Olechek,
yes.
Olechek, yeah, he did have a failed drug test for steroids or a testosterone enhancer.
And he did not look the same. I don't care if he won that fight. I don't think he did, but you know, he looked
he never even looked intimidating while he was on was on whatever he was on. He's just one of those unintimidating guys that will kick your ass.
Yeah, but I mean, Newman, I think, you know, you said something really wise on the LFA last week when we were talking about when the promotion makes a matchup, they usually get what they want, especially at lower level. This is lower level, and I think this is by design. So wait to see the weigh-ins, but still, I mean, minus 350 on a guy who's 2-0, who's used to dominating in wrestling. If he doesn't, what happens? It can get squirrely. So, you know, again, Bronco being in there with Tyrell Fortune for 15 minutes is no small feat, no matter what you're on. So,
and that's
yeah, dogger pass, and that is at the 185 division. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. We are moving on to the 170 division, and that is Magomed Brkmanov and Herman Tirado. This is at 170. Herman Tirado 15-1-1. Magomed is at 14-1. Just one of the many Russian studs on this card. It's littered with them. Like this is gonna be a lot of me saying a lot of the same things because these guys all seem to look the same too. I'll start with we'll start with Herman the Hitman Tirado, 15-5-1. He's making his Bellator return after going 0-1-1, taking on Justin Baseman to a draw, as well as losing to Rick Hahn, although by decision. So no shame in that. Yeah, and I'm not sure who he's calling a stud. I'm assuming Brkmanov, but yeah. Anyways, Herman, He's being brought in here for one reason and one reason only, I think. He's lost by rear naked choke to Russian in Magomed Makhiramov over in PFL. Then he lost to Jake Shields. I think it's going to look a lot like those two fights. He does get controlled a little bit in the grappling realm. Magomed is definitely a stud. He's one of the many. I mean, Bellator is just littered with Russian prospects, especially on this card. He went to a decision in his last fight against a 22-9 guy in Ciro Rodriguez. And I was actually very impressed with his composure in that fight. Before that fight, he's shown he's a clear finisher. Second round finish over Brett Cooper, former Bellator title holder, or was he a title holder?
I don't think so.
Contender. He was a
fought
contender.
in Strikeforce as well, I believe.
Yeah, it's fun. Strikeforce. Brett Cooper's been around for a while and like definitely.
I remember Fedor knocking him out pretty good.
Yeah, Fedor.
Yeah, something like that.
So I mean, it's not what it once was, but I mean, he's got wins over. He's got like lots of decent competition, and he's just looked really good in just about all of his performances. I think he's got good grappling. He's got good power on the feet. And yeah, I think that with Herman's shown his grappling and his wrestling overall are a little bit lacking, but gets some good competition, but still lacking. He does have a win over Zeffirino, which I, do rate that as a decent win. It was a split, but still probably his best win of his career. So he's been there with decent guys. I just think that Magomed is so much better everywhere, and he's just on the rise right now. I don't think Herman has much of a chance. I think Magomed will get a finish in some way.
Yeah, man. This looks like a tailor-made matchup for the Russian to win. Herman's coming in short notice, actually. The original opponent was supposed to be, let me double-check here.
For
Jordan Meehan, the Canadian Jordan Meehan.
Yeah, so he's going from a 6'2" welterweight to a 5'9" welterweight.
Who hasn't fought in 2 years. 3 years.
Who hasn't fought in 3 years, was taking on a grappling bout with Jesse Taylor, which he did win, but was a split. But, still, I think
this looks like a tailor-made matchup for the Russian to win. Although Herman does have better competition, in my opinion. He has faced the better competition.
Very true.
His losses, literally, he has a loss to Bobby Green, his second fight.
Yeah,
in his career.
Jake Shields.
He's been around a long time. I love how he has losses to the best competition because you're only going to learn from those.
Mm-hmm.
But this Russian is 14-1. I don't know most of the competitors because I don't live in that area, but those guys, obviously, they're animals as well.
Yeah,
whoever's growing up in the Russian area, they're going to grow up learning that Russian wrestling, and it's just they all seem to achieve greatness in this sport. So if he's competing with guys like that on a regular, then he should be more than prepared to make this Bellator debut shine. Maybe get a finish, but Herman's really, really durable. Herman has only lost by he has lost by 2 submissions, and Magomed has won by 9 submissions. So I think Bellator knows what they're doing here. It's either going to be a submission or a decision win for our Russian stud, as David Van Akun is saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Minus 600 for Magomed here. He's the biggest favorite on the card.
I already made a parlay with Jordan Newman earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do research on Jordan Newman's opponent. I thought it was a scrub.
Yeah,
he looks better than I anticipated, so I'm hoping that just cashes.
Yeah.
And I'm probably gonna have to parlay this Russian with something else before the fight
you
starts.
You could do probably a pretty large Russian parlay on this card.
Or a round robin.
Yeah, I actually take it back. He's the second biggest favorite. I think we all know the biggest or one.
I think he's actually third. He's the third.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, all these Russians are insane. Basically, you have these 3 Russians. If you parlay them together, you get minus 400.
Yeah,
that's.
Yeah, we'll talk about parlays.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet on that one. We're gonna move on now. Like I said, minus 600 plus 350 coming back on Herman. Not quite the price I'm looking for to bet on Herman. I'm
Yeah.
not sure there really is one. This is a tough
Herman,
matchup for him.
Herman's round 1 or done. 12 of
Yeah.
his victories are in round 1.
Yeah.
So
No,
if prop odds come out, you want to sprinkle a little bit on Herman in round 1, like that would be insane odds. I doubt they'll come out with that specific of
yeah.
prop bets.
No,
But
they
even
won't.
inside the distance, you might be able to get plus 1,000, $5 to make 50. You know.
Yeah. So our next
Never
fight
know.
here, we're at 185 middleweight between
Yep.
Fabio Aguilar and Khalid Murza Aliyev. And I'm doing my best with these names, you know, but
I
we all
appreciate
know that it's not always easy.
Yeah.
But some people think it always is. But anyways, we got a 17-1 guy in Fabio Aguilar taking on Khalid here. I'm going to start with Fabio. Fabio 17-1, hasn't fought since December of 2018, so it's been a while. He's not fought a whole lot of guys I know of other than Marcio Alexandre Jr. I do know him from the Brazilian regional scene. You know, he's fought and beaten some decent guys along the way, and he also did fight in the UFC for a decent amount of time, although he was 0-3. But he fought in the Ultimate Fighter as well. But yeah, Fabio, it's hard to find a lot of tape on him. Could not find a ton of tape. He's a Shuto box fighter. So he does kind of go in there and like to really kind of mix it up in the pocket, throw and take one to receive one from what I've been able to see. Khalid, I think, will be the more technical, stronger, harder hitter. And at 14-2, I'm more familiar with the competition he's faced as well. But both guys have been off since 2018. His last fight was over CB Dalloway, where Dalloway quit in between rounds, which doesn't tell you a whole lot. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's another one where I don't know a ton of these guys because, again, it's Russia. But I see 13-3 records. I see 10-1. I see 17-8 CB Dalloway. I just see a better level of competition for Khalid. And I just think he's going to take advantage of that one UFC performance and that experience here. I think he has the bigger show experience, and he should be able to take this one. I'll say KOs Fabio.
Yeah, man. I actually thought Fabio was somebody else. Mistaken him for somebody. I thought he was the fighter that fought Magomed, who we'll be talking about later.
Yeah,
Magomed, because it's a similar record. Magomed's opponent was 17-1, so I saw 17-1. I'm like, oh, this guy's coming back too. But yeah, it's totally somebody else. I saw him at plus 120, so I sprinkled a little bit on that, and now he's like plus 220. So I'm like, holy, like the money
so
has
you
just
bet on Fabio?
Yeah, early, because I'm like, oh, the odds are gonna sway because I'm mistaken him for the guy that fought Magomed last time, who actually put up a decent fight. And
this guy's a little bit more raw.
Yeah, he's so he actually trains with Thomas Almeida if he's a Chudo Brazil guy. And those guys have wars in the gym. They just take depreciation on their chins, on their bodies. It's not smart what they're doing. It's like Wanderlei Silva back in the day, just going crazy
how
in the
Thomas
gym.
Almeida looked last weekend.
Yeah, I know. Wait, that was bad.
That was one of the worst performances. I get it.
That reminded me of Jeff Neal versus Stephen Thompson. He just neutralized everything. Stephen Thompson neutralized everything Jeff Neal was throwing at him. Same Sean O'Malley. He neutralized everything, and Thomas Almeida had no answer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that plus 120, not your best bet there.
Pardon?
That plus 120 on Fabio, not your best bet.
Yeah. Luckily, it was like very minuscule because I didn't know exactly. I didn't do research yet, so I never go heavy until I do all the research in the weigh-ins. But yeah, this guy fought CB Dalloway. The ref's an idiot in that fight. He should have stopped it way before. CB took way too much damage, unnecessary damage, and he's just been knocked out ever since. So this guy pretty much retired, literally retired CB Dalloway.
Khalid Murza Aliyev.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fabio, I don't know much about. It's hard to say. Like any notable opponents,
Nope.
Marcio Alexandre Jr. I
That's
think
the
he was an
one.
Ultimate Fighter contestant. He did knock him out. Um, he's got multiple wins in round 1 and 2. Khalid, multiple wins in round 1 and 2. Khalid's a finishing machine, 13 out of 14,
Hmm.
93% finishing rate. Fabio, 14 out of 17, 82% finishing rate. So I'm expecting a finish in this fight. It's going to be fireworks. It might not be the best fight to bet on, to be honest, because the odds are just too much. And Khalid's, is that his name? Khalid? Yeah,
Yep.
Khalid's.
Khalid versus Ali.
Yeah, I think that the odds are just too high now. If anything, Fabio might be the pick
It's
out
going to
of
be,
betting
I think they're
perspective.
going to stand and trade, and it's going to be who wilts first. I don't think there's going to be a lot of takedowns. I don't think there's going to be a lot of MMA here. I think both guys are going to go in and throw down.
Yeah.
And yeah, Khalid is now, a substantial favorite, minus 350, has
Oh,
doubled.
I
So,
see that. That's
yeah,
why I only bet just a tiny bit. Now
plus,
maybe I can be more heavily invested.
plus 240 on Fabio. I think that if you can get this fight inside the distance, it's probably not going to be worth the squeeze either because it's probably going to be
They both
minus.
have been knocked out. Let's say that. They both have questionable chins.
That's why at minus 2.5 rounds, I'd bet on if it's anything lower than minus 200.
Yeah, exactly. Let's target the under in this fight, if anything.
Exactly.
We'll keep
So,
an eye on the prop.
yeah, I do like Khalid. I do think that he should be able to handle this one.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is getting into that odds territory we're not crazy about. It's going to
Almost
be
like
hard
Jordan Newman.
it's going to be hard for any Russians to be a secret
Yeah, you
on this.
can't doubt Fabio. 17-1. Like
Mhm.
you don't just become 17-1, but also Thomas Almeida was like 21-1, and
Right, and he's
yeah,
17-1, hasn't fought in 3 years. So what's up with that? Like,
yeah,
there's
Khalid's the same way though.
right, exactly. Yeah, well, Khalid, got
But did
cut
he
from
have that
left the
suspension?
UFC after one fight.
Did he get a suspension?
I wonder, or maybe there was possible suspension with USADA, so he decided. I don't know. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how that works, but it's always fishy
it's up
when
in the air.
hot. Yeah, there's something going on there.
Mhm.
Next fight, this one's gonna be really simple for me, man.
Yeah.
It's a 135
Okay.
sacrificial lamb. CJ, I hate to say this too because I love CJ Hamilton just for what he's done for the sport as a regional guy in this weight class. CJ Hamilton is the ultimate gatekeeper, maybe of all time. Just when you look for this like 135, 125 weight class, when you look at it, I'll just give you a list of the guys who've beat him. And you can just, kind of tell me. I'm going to leave out the guys who don't fit, but 4 of his 7 losses are to Jared Brooks, Casey Kenny, Jordan Espinosa, and Jimmy Flick. And his best
Jordan
win,
Espinosa I don't rate too highly, but those other three, those are
they all made
legitimate.
the UFC after beating him, is my point.
Oh,
Like,
okay, yeah.
so that's my point. Like,
He's a
is that
gatekeeper for sure.
if you beat CJ Hamilton, you're UFC caliber. If you don't, you're not, because CJ Hamilton's best win is literally, I have never heard of any of his top wins. I've never heard of any of these guys. None of these guys have gone on to do anything in Bellator or UFC. Ryan Hollis at 12-12, I would say, is the most notable win because I've heard of that guy. But other than that, my point here, we can keep this one layman's. Magomedov has split with Peter Yan. Both fights were seriously close fights, and he's good everywhere. His takedowns, his scrambling, his kicking. This is Magomedov all day long, and the odds.
I'm going heavy on CJ. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well,
I'm joking around.
yeah. I mean, this is just it's too bad for CJ. I mean, at least he gets to make Bellator, which I
He's
don't
gonna
think
get a lot of followers either way.
Yeah, and he's going to be on the end of a highlight, I think, here because, I think that it could, maybe he just grapples him up, so it's not much of a highlight, but I just think Magomedov all day long here, and, I get the odds are going to be juiced, so that's why I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. Do you have anything kind of to add on Magomedov, other than what the fuck is he doing fighting this low on the prelims?
CJ Hamilton is coming in short notice actually as well. So that doesn't help.
It was Jared Scoggins. Jared Scoggins avoided beating by Magomed.
But Jared would have put up a better technical kickboxing fight, I believe. Yep. CJ loves to get himself caught into like split decisions. The judges never really know who's winning in his fights, but Magomed is the type of opponent where it's not going to be close either way. Like he's got 3 split decision wins, so let's say those 3 were the other way, he would be 12-10 right now as a professional. So, yeah, he's also making his Bellator debut. I got Magomed early at -900. I parlayed him with somebody we'll be talking about later on. The next day I checked the odds, it's -1500. So I'm really happy I got him at -900 because I think people are just putting their fucking mortgage on Magomedov at this point. And it's going to be a unanimous decision win or pretty much any way he wants. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just CJ's 34 at this point. He's had his run. It's just Magomed's time. Magomed's 29. He's in his prime. I think he's a future. And Bellator just came out with rankings. I'm pretty sure Magomed's up there in the bantamweight rankings.
Like, I haven't looked at those rankings yet. But I haven't looked at those rankings yet. But Valerie Lareda is currently ranked in the top 10 of any division, so I can't take it seriously.
Yeah, well, they don't have much opponents there. They can't really.
Yeah, I don't care. I can't take it. No. You don't have rankings for a division yet. You can't.
No, but that's a different division. Bantamweight, they have a lot other.
I agree. No, I know. I was just being.
Yeah, and Valerie brings the numbers. You got to give her some love, man. Even though she gets enough of it.
No, I don't. Magomedov is a -1600 favorite.
He really jumped up.
Man, that -900. It's amazing how -900 can be a steal. But
man, and luckily with the opponent or the fighter I parlayed him with just worked out perfectly to get under that -200 mark. Oh yeah, rock on, or what is that? That's
I think that's hang loose, bro. This is like the max. It's so white you can hardly see it with the background.
Hawaiian.
Zach is so white. So good to see Zach.
You want to get this fight, the next fight started? I'm gonna go take a leak quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
So no problem. Next fight here, and I'll switch screens in a minute. It's Mando Nalo. This is at 155, taking out Ricardo Sacia. Ricardo of LFA fame, stepping in on short notice, 9-2, taking on Mandel, who's 7-1-1 after his no contest lower. Sorry, I guess 7-1 in a no contest. Ricardo coming off of a very surprising front kick punch KO in his Bellator debut, where he's usually known as a grappler. So, like, when he landed that on Dominic Clark, I was really surprised. Prior to that, he had been knocked out twice, once by a pretty rough uppercut against Christian Aguilar, next time against Jacob Rosales. So the Aguilar fight was at welterweight. He was definitely undersized for welterweight. Moved to lightweight where, he still got knocked out by Rosales, but took a couple of years off, and came back at a 34-second win back in January of 2020. So he's been off since then. Mando Nalo, he's a tricky guy, coached by Firas Zahabi at TriStar. Prior to the Kilias Mota fight, he was looking really good. Landed a really nice knee against Carrington Banks, who's a 7-1 wrestler, to win that fight. In his second Bellator fight. Before that, he had a really quick 10-second or 20-second knockout of Alec Williams. And then, he ran into some problems with Kilias Mota, where the leg kicks really got to Mandel. He started to step weird, took some weird steps, went down, and the fight was stopped. Then he had a low blow against Saeed Awad, where he was a -250 favorite. So that is just, a little bit of my hesitancy here with Mandel is that he's just seemed to have a little bit of trouble once feeling his first little bit of adversity. And at 7-0, it's very common for these guys, I think, to have that reaction. He's 31, almost 32 years old. Ricardo's not a young man as well. Ricardo Sasquatch is 30 years old. Fights at King's MMA, so it's King's MMA against TriStar here. I think Ricardo could really pin Mandel against the cage and use a lot of his grappling, which I think is advanced compared to Mandel. I think if Mandel's able to keep the distance and really use the striking, he can put away Ricardo early, though, as well. Ricardo's had some striking issues, though that was at 170, but I imagine now Ricardo's cutting a lot of weight to get to 155, and that could pay, he may have to pay for that in his gas tank and with regards to his chin. So I don't feel great about betting the favorite here in Mandel, which I have a feeling he will be. So I would say dog or pass is my official pick, though. I'll say Mandel by decision, but very unconvinced. And honestly, I think I might sprinkle on the dog depending on the price. But talk to me. What is your read on this fight?
Yeah, man. I like to fade Mandel. That last fight with Sahad Awad, I was very disappointed because I believe Awad was going to end up winning that, but it was unfortunate that it ended with a low blow and Awad couldn't continue. It was a low blow, I believe. Yeah, accidental low blow in round one.
Yep.
He was like
Mandel
a plus 200 underdog.
Mandel being a minus 250 favorite as well.
Yeah, so that's why I took the dog, and I like Sahad Awad. He was looking good early, and it was just unfortunate low blow. Ricardo's coming in short notice. They both are coming in from great camps. King's MMA versus TriStar Gym, like you said. Ricardo's making his. Oh no, Ricardo's 1-0 in Bellator. Actually, who was Mandel supposed to fight?
So Mandel was
Diggs.
Keani Diggs was his original opponent coming into this fight, and Diggs had to withdraw. I think that would have been a tough fight too for him.
Yeah, they're both finishing machines. You said Mandel by decision, but he's 7 out of 7 finishing rate. Like he goes in there, it's either he's going to take his opponent out or he's getting taken out. And his nickname is very unusual. It's Rat Garbage. I don't know what fighter likes to refer to themselves as Rat Garbage, but this guy's rolling with it. So we got Rat Garbage here
versus Sasquatch.
Versus the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I'll take the Sasquatch.
Okay. We're both leaning on Sasquatch here.
Yeah, because I just like to fade Mandel. What are the odds looking like?
So the odds are looking very, very good. I'm liking this a lot. Minus 275 for Mandel, plus 215 for Ricardo.
Oh, maybe because the short notice factor.
It could be, but Ricardo's got some experience against UFC level competition and high level. Gonzalez I rate very highly as well. I get he was on the short end of those.
Those are two. The only losses are going to make you better, like we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, and we only saw him for 34 seconds in his Bellator debut, but that striking looked better than ever. And he looked good. He looked like a good size at 155 compared to 170. I think that plus 215 shot is more than worthy. There's not a lot of dogs I feel crazy good about on this card. That is one of them.
Absolutely, man. I agree.
Yeah, we're going to move on now to the next fight here. According to Tapology, it is at 170. The next fight, I get this order might be out of order by fight night. This is 4-0 Roman Feraldo taking on 2-1 Trevor Good. Trevor Goody, sorry. Trevor Goody, which, man,
my
this dude.
My money maker.
Trevor Goody is awkward, and I got my eyes on this dog for sure. So my dogs are coming 2 in a row here, it appears, because Trevor Goody, if you can't see that, 6'7". Yeah, 6'7".
Jack May is 6'9" in heavyweight, and he's almost the same as Jack May, who's a tall for a heavyweight. That's insane.
Yeah, 6'7". He was 6-0 as an amateur, and then 2-1 as a pro. He got caught in a wild little triangle in his pro debut, which, I just don't really count that, honestly. I get it happened, and I think it's a good lesson to learn in your pro debut against an 0-3 guy in Johnny Adams. Yeah, I get that. But I just think it was Trevor Goody has taken a lot of grappling bouts with guys like Devin Powell and other really good grapplers since then. He's awkward. He's wild. He puts himself in bad situations at times to get himself into a situation to finish himself. He took on Royce Gracie's son in his Bellator debut and landed a beautiful knee. He was a plus 455 underdog in that one. And that was against a 2-1 guy in Crony Gracie. But yeah, I mean, he's just really awkward, really wild. Has some decent amateur experience, has not faced the craziest level of competition yet, but neither is really Roman. Roman's 4-0. He definitely is used to kind of going in there and being the bully. Had a nice flying knee in his Bellator debut against Pat Casey, who is not a bad wrestler at all, but very different guy. I would have liked to see him against Tommy Aaron. I think Tommy Aaron is a guy who probably would have beat him in that fight. So, we don't get to quite find out as much here. This is an interesting one. I just think that Trevor Goody could really make this, a little bit of a grapple fest, a little bit of a, scramble fest, and end up on top here with a decision. So I'm leaning towards Trevor Goody. Just not sure how good this Roman guy is yet. Good size at 6'1", but 6'7" in Trevor Goody. I think this is going to be a test that maybe the 4-0, also 6-0 as an amateur, so hasn't had defeat, hasn't tasted adversity really. Maybe this is the time he does, and I'm not sure how he responds. So I'll take Goody. I'm going to take Goody. I don't know finish or not. I just think he makes it tricky. I guess I'd say decision if I had to pick.
Yeah, buddy. Both these guys, 100% finishing rate on both sides. So it's going to be a great one. You know that. Trevor was my money maker last time out versus Cronry Gracie. He was plus 55. I wish I bet more. Like that just made my weekend when he won. Yep. I love when underdogs prevail and battle through adversity like that. He looked like a stud. He looked like he belonged with high-level competition. Roman Feraldo, I am kind of unfamiliar. I wish I saw that last fight with Pat Casey. It was a round 2 flying knee, so very, very flashy dude. He's never been defeated. We might look like idiots. Trevor Goody might just get like totally knocked out here, starched in the first round. Who knows? But I think the odds are off as well. I like Trevor Goody as an underdog, but we might be able to find better underdogs on the card. But yeah, early on, this is probably our number one candidate.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be an interesting one. Roman is a minus 610 favorite, plus 425 for Trevor Goody.
That's ridiculous.
I think that your decision is made there. You got to take your shot on a few Bellator dogs.
They both have one win in Bellator. It's not like Roman is 4-0 and 4-0 in Bellator.
No,
he does have a fight in Titan FC. Trevor is 1-0 in Bellator, 1-1 in Cage Titans. If you are familiar with that organization, so it's not like either of them have really faced the highest level of competition yet. I think they're both right, like where they need to be, both equally, like competition-wise, they both are equal, and I think the odds are just kind of screwy here.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna put a parlay with Ricardo and Trevor in it and just sprinkle it a little bit because that's gonna be nearly 1,000 plus 1,000. And it's just sorry, I just keep showing that same highlight. But yeah, I just think this is a spot plus 425. I'm just not exactly sure. I get the odds. See a 6-0 amateur, 4-0 finisher, but he was starting to look a little bit tired against Pat Casey before that finish, and that is available. It's on YouTube. You can check it out. We're to the finale of the prelims here.
Yeah.
And this is 5-0 Chris Gonzalez, who I frankly, think has looked okay so far. I'm waiting to see that signature performance, though. He's looked a little bit hesitant so far. Taking on Roger Huerta, 24-12-1. We know Roger Huerta from back in the UFC, and he's definitely been around since then as well. wily veteran taking on the young up and comer at 155. The young up and it's Roger Huerta, 37 now, fighting Thailand. I'll start with Chris Gonzalez. 5'11", 155er, kind of a all-around mixed martial arts guy, has some good wrestling. That's definitely where he seems to lean on when the fight gets a little bit close. He's so far in Bellator, he's been 4 fights in Bellator, 2 unanimous decisions, 2 splits. Splits coming off over really good guys, though. Or not really good, but pretty good guys. Aaron McKenzie, I think, is very good. And Vladimir Tokov, a very good prospect, trains with Fedor, Russian prospect, really came into that fight. Those two really matched up well, but Chris Gonzalez was a pick'em in that fight. He's clearly been teed up as a prospect out of alpha male, fights like a team alpha male fighter, honestly. So you can love that or hate that. Roger Huerta at this point, though, man, he's taken some beatings, some real tough finishes. Pitbull, particularly, that was rough. Sidney Outlaw ended up winning a decision. I just think that overall, in the last 10 years, he's had 2 legitimate wins. He had a win over a 10-0 guy in Christian Holly, who I didn't really know much about, but since Roger Huerta beat him, Christian Holly's lost 3 more fights and doesn't fight anymore. And that was also in 2014. Then he beat Adrian Pang, a split decision over in 1FC. And then Hayden Hassan, he had an illegal elbow win. So he got finished, but it was illegal. And then he lost Benson Henderson, Pitbull, and Sidney Outlaw. Several steps down here in Chris Gonzalez from those 3. I will say that. So Chris Gonzalez getting some split decision wins. But I think this is Chris Gonzalez here. And I think Chris Gonzalez might get his first finish since his debut. I just think that he could really look to land some ground and pound here. I don't think Roger Huerta has a lot left in that chin. And it's been a rough 10 years for Huerta, man. Rough 10 years. I think this is Chris Gonzalez all day.
Yeah, like the parlay we were talking about earlier, this is the fighter, Chris Gonzalez.
Yes.
I'm all in on him. He impressed the hell out of me versus Vladimir Tokov. Mm-hmm. I bet Tokov, and I was praying the judges would mess it up because it was one of those fights where it could have went either way. But Tokov was my guy. I was really high on him, and Chris just stopped that hype train. He took all of it. He took all the hype from Tokov, and now they're feeding him Roger to build off that hype. He's 5-0. What is he in Bellator? 4-0 in Bellator.
Yep.
He's the next generation of this sport. You should learn this man's name, and you should tune into this fight because he's dominant. He's just gonna show a well-rounded game, in my opinion, and this is the perfect opponent to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the odds, I love them. Minus 270 for Chris Gonzalez, plus 210 for Huerta. This should be double.
And I think Chris Gonzalez could actually beat Sidney Outlaw right now.
Yeah, no,
I make it more competitive than Roger Huerta did.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a bad call at all.
So minus 270, you said?
Yep, minus 270. He's one of my favorites on the prelims. Because there's a little bit of value there still.
I'm kind of mad. I parlayed him minus 280 with Magomed at minus 900. Yeah, so I kind of missed out on value there, but at the same time, Magomed jumped to minus 1400. So I wouldn't have even
you still caught the value there. So.
I got it for sure.
Yeah,
because so you combine those, it's a minus 190. So that's really it's not that.
Still, Chris Gonzalez, combine him with Sexia separate, combine him with
somebody else we're going to talk about earlier that might be a relative of a very good fighter.
Yeah, combine him with Goody, combine him with, there's lots that minus 270 on a Bellator prelim can do. We're to the main card. Unfortunately, the main card had an injury to this fight, so Jack May is somehow getting on.
You want to do the main card like a separate video? It's almost 45 minutes.
No, we're doing it all together.
Okay, yeah,
Because
we'll get it done.
we're already live. Yeah, we're already live here.
Yeah, Tyrell.
Tyrell Fortune taking on Jack May. This is a heavyweight fight. Jack May now 39 years and 11 months. This is
the rematch we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, the rematch we've all been waiting for. It says Tyrell Fortune is fighting on Black Zillions. That's hilarious.
He was Stanford MMA. He's not anymore.
It's just kind of funny that it still says that on his Tapology. This is a short notice replacement for Tyrell. Tyrell was originally supposed to be taking on Matt Mitrione. Had an accidental low blow against Jack May that stopped their first fight. So we've all been waiting for this rematch. Jack May coming off a loss by split decision to Kyle Noblet, who is 10-2. So maybe it's not that bad of a loss. I don't know.
He came in short notice for that fight.
Yeah, what's that?
Noblet came in short notice for that fight as well.
Yeah, so I mean, good win for him. I mean, Mark Godbeard knocked him out though in bare knuckle, which is not great. He's been knocked out by Alex Nicholson at heavyweight. He was arm triangle by Francisco Borosco at heavyweight. He did beat Josh Copeland. That was a huge win for him back in PFL. So he has played that spoiler to a
plus 240 underdog in that fight.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm surprised it was only plus 240, frankly. And Tyrell Fortune, he's had a little bit of an up and down. He got knocked out bad against Timothy Johnson, so he definitely could have some potential chin issues. I think the only way Jack May wins is by landing one of those long shots in the first 2 minutes of the fight, and that's how he lost his one loss. Then, the Jack May fight, he had the weird low blow. And then even against Saeed Soma, he looked fine. Looked again like a undefeated guy who's hesitant after his first loss and then a little bit more adversity. So I think he should be able to get back on track here against Jack May, though. I'd like to see a finish by KO, so I'm going to say Tyrell Fortune KO.
Yeah, man. Like I said, the most anticipated rematch we've all been waiting for. And Jack May turning 40 April 14th, actually. He's hitting the big 4-0 in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Tyrell, another big prospect coming from Bellator. His entire career has been in Bellator, similar to AJ McKee. He's 9-1-0-1. Unfortunate it ended in a no contest. Fortune landed that low blow in round 1. Jack May couldn't continue. They both got paid their show money. They're running it back. The only reason they're running it back is because Fortune's opponent dropped out. Mm-hmm. Who was that again?
It was Matt Mitrione.
Yeah, Matt Mitrione. Yeah, that would have been a way better fight, in my opinion.
Probably will still happen.
But yeah, so it's either going to be a unanimous decision. Actually, Tyrell Fortune, 4 out of his 9 wins are in the second round.
Yeah.
So if you're going to bet this fight or predict it, second round knockout is probably your best prediction. Jack May's been knocked out 4 times at this point. You said he's also been knocked out in bare knuckle
by Mark Godbeard.
Yeah, by the almighty Mark Godbeard, who had such a great career in the UFC.
Oh yeah,
fighting Walt Harris and Jared what's his name?
Cannonier.
Pardon?
Was it Jared Cannonier at heavyweight?
No, not Justin Ledet, sorry.
Okay.
The great career facing Justin Ledet and Walt Harris and losing both those.
Yeah, he's Justin Ledet's win. One of Justin Ledet's UFC wins. That's right.
Yeah. And Tyrell, I think maybe he spent one day at Sanford MMA, so they just leave that on there. I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe he stops in there once in a while. And Jack May's training out of CSW and Timo Yama. He does have training time in Timo Yama, which is a decorated gym with Carla Esparza, Louis Smolka.
Yep.
There's a lot of good fighters out of there, but they're all smaller fighters. Like nobody that's really Jack May's size. So yeah, Tyrell Fortune, unanimous decision or knockout TKO round 2, unless it ends in another freak accident.
Yeah, minus 650 for Tyrell, plus 475 for Jack. If it was like closer to plus 700, I'm thinking about Jack May just for fun. But
Yeah.
Tyrell, even at this price, I think you can combine him with some of those surefires on the prelims and get a decent result. I think there's a 5 to 6 piece parlay with the favorites on here that you can really make a decent turn
Or round
on.
robin, 3 of them.
Exactly. Yeah. Either way. Next fight, I'm super pumped for this next fight.
I'm just gonna move. I'm just gonna go outside. My girlfriend's gonna be coming home soon.
Yeah, no
My
worries.
dog's gonna freak out.
Hey, you know what? We go on the move here. Don't worry about it. Next fight is
This is live. This is what's telling you guys. Live TV.
Trust me, if they don't know it's live right now, yeah, this is all live, but we're giving you really good information here. And this next fight is at 155.
Yeah, just start this fight off, and then I'll be like 2 minutes.
Yeah, no worries. Next fight's at 155. It's between Khabib's cousin Usman Nurmagomedov and Magic Mike Hamill, who is a former featherweight fighting out MMA Lab. So we've got Team Khabib versus Team MMA Lab. I'll start with Mike Hamill here. 7-4 now, coming off of a split decision loss over Adam Borics at a catch weight of 150 pounds. No real shame in that fight. He came in as a plus 1,100 underdog, fought him to a split decision. It was a really good fight. And Mike, I just think Magic Mike Hamill's has had a little bit of a tough run. The illegal blows that caused him the loss against Bruno Souza, who just got a win in the LFA main event over Elijah Johns, Miles Johns' brother. The illegal blows came after 2 10-8 rounds, and Souza was pretty out of it and just got hit in the back of the head, and they stopped it. But that was Mike Hamill's fight all day long. He looked really good. Came back with a win over Fabio Serrano in February of 2020 before his split decision loss in August of 2020 against Adam Borics. He was a really big 145er, was killing himself to get down to that weight. Now at 155, I think he can, have some success moving on, but it's not going to be in this fight. Usman Nurmagomedov is the real deal, man. 11-0. He has finishes in all of his fights. Never has been in all but one of his fights. He's got a doctor's stoppage. He's got armbar finishes. He's got ground and pound. He's got rear naked choke. He's got punches. He's got really nice kicks as well. Usman is coached by Khabib, cousins with Khabib, was coached by Khabib's father before he passed away. 11-0. This guy is the next Nurmagomedov who's going to dominate, and he's not going to lose for a while. I love Mike Hamill's, but Mike Hamill is in some trouble here. I think that he gets, I would say most likely Hamill will get knocked out in this fight by Usman. But do you have any kind of other thoughts? I basically, to recap, think Mike Hamill's a really, really good challenging guy. He's going to give a lot of guys a challenge. Now he's at 155. His fight against Adam Borics showed me a lot, being a split decision. Really impressive as a plus 1,100 dog in that one. But he's facing Usman Nurmagomedov, and this guy is the next guy at 155. He doesn't fight completely like Khabib, but he's just another one of these well-rounded, guys who can kick well, punches well, scrambles well, good submissions, good everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. We were speaking very highly of Mike Hamill just a couple of weeks ago. I did not realize he was matched up against Usman. We were talking about the Bruno Souza fight.
Yep.
Yeah, and your moneymaker. And he ended up losing a DQ, unfortunately, but he was very dominant in that fight.
He was up 2016 in that fight when he lost the DQ.
Really, 2 10-8s?
Yeah, he dominated that fight all the way around. It should have been stopped in both of the first 2 rounds.
So his record's deceiving.
Mm-hmm.
He really shouldn't be a 7-4.
Yeah, 8-3, possibly 9-2 if he gets on the right end of a split decision against Adam Borics, who's 14-1.
Yeah. So yeah, I like Usman. Like, he's so highly rated. People talk the world about him. Like, they feed him compliments. And Abubakar Nurmagomedov just won. They're riding that high. Khabib Nurmagomedov's going to be in his corner. So all you Khabib fans, if you want to see Khabib, he's going to be in the cage on
Coach Khabib.
Coach Habib may be winning Coach of the Year.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm all over Usman.
Yeah.
I'm so happy Adam Borks won that last fight because I had him in parlays, and I'm like, how is this a split? Because I was
Yeah.
just maybe biased because I bet on him.
I bet on Hamill, and I was like, oh my God, it's a split. Let's go.
Oh yeah, so you had a different perspective.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're both on Usman here. This is
Yeah.
not rocket science. Plus 550 for Mr. Hamill. Minus 1,000 for Usman.
This is another parlay I made with Chris Gonzalez.
Yep.
And the odds have not changed. I thought Usman was going to grow even more of an underdog, but he never did.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're getting to tail end here. It's kind of interesting. I have a little less to say on a few of these last fights than some of the early prelims.
Yeah.
Kana Watanabe versus Alejandro Lara is the next fight here. And this is at 125, the budgeting flyweight division, which has a top 10 Valerie Lareda in it. So that lets you know how deep this division is currently. Alejandro Lara did challenge for the title against McFarland, where she was put away. She's still only 26 years old, taking on the 32-year-old Kana Watanabe, who's 9-1. Alejandro Lara 9-3. Three of her losses are in good competition. She lost to Sabina Mazo back on the early regional circuit. She's also lost by armbar to McFarland in round 3, and she had a split decision loss against Juliana Velasquez, which Juliana Velasquez just took the flyweight title from McFarland. So definitely a pretty impressive split decision there. Has since then had gone 2-0, having a ground and pound finish, and then dominating Vita Ortega in their last fight. Kana Watanabe, she's a straight Japanese grappler. Like, she needs to get the fight to the ground. She'll clinch. She has really strong wrestling, really strong ground and pound, really strong just overall grappling. I think her boxing is a little bit robotic and rigid, but when she gets a hold of you, you go down and she controls you for the most part and eventually gets a finish in some way or another. I like Kana Watanabe here. I think that she is way better than Alejandro Lara. Technically, I think Alejandro Lara gets a little shell-shocked on her feet and on the ground at times, and I just think Kana's going to be able to control her from start to finish here. I don't understand the odds. This is my favorite dog, one of my favorite dogs on the card.
Yeah, man. I think the odds are they're basing it off of Alejandra having that title shot, in my opinion, and
didn't she wear like battle paint to the weigh-ins and stuff? Like, hasn't she worn like face paint? She's like pretty known for like that, her outside the octagon or outside the cage stuff.
Yeah, I think she does the Colombian face paint.
Yeah,
for her country.
Yep, which is great, But.
And Laura misweighed her last fight, actually, so the weigh-ins are going to be interesting. We'll see if she makes the target this time around. It was a dominant win over Vita Ortega. I think I picked Vita in that fight, so that kind of made me mad. It was it was a unanimous decision. Laura was just all over her.
Yeah.
I like the odds on the undefeated Japanese fighter.
Yeah, she looked really strong in her last fight. Really strong.
And the odds just keep getting better for her.
Yeah.
Everybody's betting Laura at this point.
Yeah. I think of the split decision over Velasquez also really helped now that Velasquez is champion.
Yeah.
So
that's what's I think that's what's making the odds in our favor here.
Yeah.
And we should take it all day.
Yeah, and I'm seeing Kana available at plus 150 on my site, minus 185 for Laura. So
she's an Olympic judo champion.
Yeah, and she's got that grown woman 32-year-old strength against a 26-year-old. Give me the dog here. That is my third dog on the card here, and I'm pretty excited about that one. Co-main event time between at least the co-main event as it's stated right now. I've heard some different co-main events come up, but currently the co-main event is at 170 between Neiman Gracie and Jason Jackson, man. Jason Jackson. What a
kind of story. every other week at one point. He's just a cash machine.
Dude, Jackson and he keeps being underestimated. I I'm going to underestimate him in this fight, I'll be honest. I think Neiman Gracie's wrestling and just overall control on the ground is going to be the difference in this one. I think that Jason has to keep this on the feet, moving, and a stand-up kind of battle, and I just don't think he's going to be able to keep Neiman off him. Neiman does have some of the best wrestling of a Gracie I've ever seen. I just think he's going to be too much for Jason from a technical perspective. Jason, I don't think gets put away here necessarily, but I mean, Neiman was able to submit Ed Ruth really quickly also. So maybe he is able to just show the complete levels in the grappling. I got Neiman.
Yeah, this is a close fight, man. Jason Jackson keeps proving people wrong.
Yeah,
this is a great camp. Sanford MMA as well. We've seen so many good athletes succeed from there. Even this past weekend, there was a Sanford MMA fighter, Derek Brunson. I know he just performed really well.
Mm-hmm.
Neiman Gracie had a very competitive fight with Rory McDonald. I think I picked Neiman Gracie in that fight because I was so high on him, and I thought Rory McDonald might be on the tail end of his career, but I forgot how young Rory McDonald still is. But those wars that Rory McDonald has had just kind of makes me think differently of him at this point in his career, but he's been proving me wrong. Neiman Gracie, he's a legitimate black belt under Renzo Gracie. Jason Jackson holds his own in the grappling department. He just manhandled Benson Henderson, who I know is a smaller competitor, but he still made it look easy. Like, he just breezed through that fight.
Yep.
So what are the odds for this fight?
It's close. It's a pick 'em on most sites. I've got it at -125 Jackson, -105 Neiman.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a pick 'em.
Yep. Plus 105. Plus 105. I'm seeing some places for Neiman.
Maybe throw. Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is a tough fight, man. So you like Neiman? You're gonna bet on Neiman?
I'm betting on Neiman, and I'm gonna let you tee up our main event here as we are live, and I have my boarder here to pick up his dog slightly early. So of course I'm going to tee you up here. I want you to go ahead. I will be right back in literally 2 minutes. So
yeah, go ahead. Man.
Thanks, sir.
All right, we got the rematch: Emmanuel Sanchez versus Patricio Pitbull. The first fight. So they're going into this fight. It went all 5 rounds the first fight. So it's kind of a continuation of their last fight. Going into the 6th round here. Patricio Pitbull beat Emmanuel Sanchez by a unanimous decision last time out. That was in November 2018, so 2.5 years ago. Patricio's just been on a tear. He's the dual champion in Bellator. You got to put respect on Patricio Pitbull's name. Lightweight, featherweight champion of the world in Bellator. He should be regarded as maybe the top 3 best featherweight in the world, behind Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. If they ever did a cross promotion, I'd love to see those fights. Emmanuel Sanchez coming out of Rufus Sport. Jordan Newman actually comes out of there too, so they've been grinding together. Emmanuel Sanchez is a submission artist. He likes to make the fight dirty. He gets in your face. He'll make it. He'll make it his fight. But Patricio has been improving day in, day out, training with Henry Cejudo, an Olympic champion. He's got the right. His brother is also one of the best Bellator fighters in the game, Patricky Freire. So, and we just saw another one of their training partners, Bruno Silva. He beat JP Bays a couple of weeks ago. So that team has some momentum right now. Rufus Sport Fighters, I really haven't heard much about Rufus Sport Fighters. Like, I know Anthony Pettis won his last fight. He's going into PFL. Ben Askren has that celebrity boxing match. Paul Felder jumps in and out when he wants to. He put up a great fight against Rafael dos Anjos. Jordan Newman, I guess, is the next rising star with Rufus Sport, and Emmanuel Sanchez is still very competitive. I know the odds. Patricio is about a minus 250 favorite. It's reasonable. I don't like it, but he's won this fight before. It's a championship fight. The gold's on the line. So much is on the line for these guys. Emmanuel is a dog. Like, honestly, it might be a dog or pass, but I am picking Patricio Pitbull to win this again unanimously, or even by a knockout. I don't think Emmanuel has been knocked out. Emmanuel Sanchez. Yeah, Emmanuel has only lost by unanimous decisions. So that's what I mean. He's a dog. He's going to be in there. He's going to be throwing punches, exchanging. It's just tough. It's tough to see him winning. Like, he can win, obviously. But Patricio's the more polished fighter of the two. So, yeah, dog or pass. We'll see if they release any prop bets. Maybe take the over if they release prop bets over 3.5 rounds, over 4.5 rounds. It's probably going to be similar to their last fight, maybe more competitive. So much is on the line for these guys. Featherweight Bellator Championship of the world.
Yeah.
And we got Aaron the dog back.
Yeah, sorry.
That stuff to talk about.
Yeah, no, I know it's hard when the lights get bright when you're all by yourself.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, it's like Emmanuel's going to be a dog in this fight. He's going to bring it. It's kind of a continuation of their last fight. He's coming into this like it's their 6th round, because he was starting to put it on Pitbull in that 5th round of their first fight. And I was thinking it's going to be dog or pass. I don't like the odds. I looked at the odds. It's minus 250 for Patricio. If they do release prop bets, I like the over. What do you think?
Yeah, I love the over in this one. Other than that, we've got a few examples of we've got one specific example of how he's looked in a rematch, and he won that rematch when he took it, against Daniel Weichel. It was a close fight, or a close decision. It wasn't like a super dominant decision, but Emmanuel Sanchez, he's a dog. He'll fight for your money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think betting on him as an underdog, I don't expect him to go in there and get starched. He's never been finished as a pro, I believe. All of his fights are decisions.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So
you're going to another 5-round decision potentially. Patricio Pitbull. This is at featherweight. So, there's always the questions of how that gas holds up in those later rounds. As he's making this cut later into his career. He's 33 now, right?
Yeah.
It's getting to that point where maybe it doesn't quite fall off yet, but it's starting to get close to that point. And I think that the only option here for me would be dog or pass, in my opinion. Minus
take 250. The over.
Yeah, and the over I think is the way to go.
Do they have? Let me just double check. Sometimes they have. Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah. So what's the over for this fight at?
So.
Because Patricio coming into this fight obviously had that real nice right cross finish, and he had the finish over Michael Chandler. But other than that, he's been to 3 decisions in his last 5.
So fight starts round 5 it's like 2-1. Fight starts round 5. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's not great.
No,
so they're on it. They're on it here. I think
they know what they're doing.
I think at the end of the day, it's dog or pass.
There's a lot of better betting options on here. I'll repeat my parlays: Chris Gonzalez and Usman Nurmagomedov, Chris Gonzalez and Magomed. I got Magomed when he was minus 900, so it wasn't as bad. And I did pick Jordan Newman and what's his name? Was it Muhammad or
Magomed?
It's a tough name to pronounce.
Magomed Brkmanov. Are you talking about the guy facing her?
Yeah, Muhammad Brkmanov. Brkmanov.
Yep.
Yeah, so I got them in a parlay, and I like Brkmanov. I'll probably put him in one more parlay before the event starts. We'll see the weigh-ins tomorrow. Hit up MMA Wagers. You'll be able to see the full weigh-in photos and all that.
Yeah, definitely. For mine, just my initial dogs that I'm leaning towards, I'll go with those. Ricardo Sasia, Sasquatch, Trevor Goody. I like him as an underdog. I like Kana Watanabe as an underdog and Neiman as a slight dog as well. So those would be my 4 dogs that I would suggest.
You got Neiman early?
I got Neiman early at plus 105.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I think the odds are swaying in Neiman's favor.
Yeah, that would make sense. But Sasia and Goody still safe underdogs, as well as Kana Watanabe.
I think our consensus underdogs are Goody and the woman fight, the Japanese woman.
Watanabe. And then I would say, Jordan, Newman, Brkmanov, Magomed.
Fade Mandel Nalo.
Yep, that's Sasia. Yep. Magomedov. And
we'll get timestamps going for the fights so you guys can just get to them quicker, more conveniently.
Yep, Chris Gonzalez as a favorite. Title Fortune.
Most confident pick on the card is Chris Gonzalez, in my opinion.
Yeah, Usman Nurmagomedov. Yep, in odds wise, definitely. So, that brings us to the end of the Bellator 255 breakdown show. Again, check out Brandon over at MMA Wagers. He's covering all of the events for this weekend. We've got 3 or 4, I believe.
CFFC, Brave in the morning, tomorrow morning.
Yep.
There's an Icon Federation on Friday night with Brock Weaver. There's also Chris Curtis fighting on that with Sean Strickland probably going to be in his corner yelling stuff at him. He's going to be vocal. So it's always a good show when Sean Strickland's in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. So, definitely still a good MMA weekend without the UFC. The UFC will be back next weekend. So I'll be back with Brian to break down those next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the meantime, subscribe to Coffee and KOs for all their previews, interviews, breakdowns, recap shows for the UFC. We're off this Saturday, so I don't know what I'm going to do without talking to them. But either way, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you stuck around till the end, you are definitely my kind of person for sure. Hardcore MMA fans here. But until next time, Aaron the Dog, Brandon from MMA Wagers, we are out with Coffee and KOs. Keep taking care of each other out there and cash that money.